Hello, are you here to debate?
Hello?
Yep, you here to debate?
Yes, sir.
All right, what's your name, age, and pronouns?
Carlos, I'm 26. I'm male.
Okay, so what are your pronouns?
He.
He,
He.
got it. Carlos, 26, he, him. Carlos, what topic on the board do you disagree with?
Let me see here, because I'm working at the same time and I've seen this, so I thought it'd be pretty fun. Let's go with systematic racism is real.
Okay, systemic racism, sure. What about it? What about it?
Um,
I'm
well,
sorry, do you think it's
since
not
you're,
real?
well, not in today's current age, since you have the bullet points here, what made you think that it is real today?
Because we still see disparities brought between the races, specifically between like white and black Americans, that have no linking to anything except for systemically racist policies and or built-in systems inherent to the art and not inherent, built-in things that are like just in the systems that we know.
Okay, can you give me an example, like a specific policy or something?
Sure, policy specifically would be like single family zoning is a systemically racist policies that disproportionately affect black Americans. Um, if you want like broader systemic things, you can look at there was a study done by Stanford called the Veil of Darkness study, in which they analyzed 95 million traffic stops and found that when it comes to pulling over people, black Americans are like 16 times more likely to be pulled over than white people while driving, even when not committing crimes.
Okay, so you're saying the, the black population gets pulled over more than the white population in just normal traffic stops without committing crimes?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? How would they go about that study? The, how do they basically show that that person didn't commit the crime? Are they going through like all the body cams? Like how you?
Traffic stops
Because
are
you
reported. Traffic stops are like written by police. Like they have to write reports when they interact with the public. So they
okay, so you're telling me this
author those reports.
these people that studied this, you're basically saying they went through each and individual um
Yes, they went
traffic
through
report, whatever police
95
report.
million. Yes, they went through 90. Was it 95 million? Chat. I think it was 95 million. They went through 95 million traffic stops
Mhm.
to come up with the data. Yes.
Okay, so now, okay, so let me hit you with this. Let me hit you with the back. You're saying that they're proportionally more likely to get pulled over. Now I ask you
Correct.
this: do you think they're more likely to commit a crime comparing to the 70% of the population?
No.
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 Where's your evidence for that? Because last time I
The
checked,
FBI crime
what
table, table
and when
43.
last time was and when was the last time it was updated? You talking about
Uh,
the 2022, or you talking about like what exactly are you looking at?
the UCR.
Yeah, but what
The
year?
UCR is typically updated every year.
So it's up to
Right
date to
now, I think.
2025
Well,
or to
no, I think
24?
right now the UCR is still in 2019. I don't know if they've authored a new report since then.
Okay, because from what I'm aware, it's not the full 13% that's committing these acts or whatever. It's majority down to the bottom 2% to the 3%. Now, when you look at that proportionally, they commit way more crimes than so-called the 70% white, and it's only like
No, they
3% that's
don't.
doing it. No, what do you mean? No, they don't. That's
I mean, no,
literally
they
a
don't.
fact.
When it comes to percent
Prove me
distribution,
wrong.
when it comes to percent
You're on live.
distribution, when it comes to percent
Pull me up a
distribution,
stat. You're on
when
live. You're able to pull
I'm
up a
literally
sheet.
telling you it right now.
No, I want to see it. You're on live. You have the
Sure,
ability to show
sure,
on live.
sure, sure. When it comes to the percentage distribution, white people commit about 70% of all crime. Black people commit about 26% of all crime. Even,
Okay, but
even,
you're
even,
comparing to a
even.
70% population to a 13% population. You guys
Yes,
like
but
to argue per capita all the time.
how about you listen? You are also taking this off the UCR. Do you know what the UCR calculates when it comes to crime?
Indulge me.
It's arrests. It calculates
Okay,
arrests. It doesn't calculate
okay, and
charges. Hold on. It doesn't calculate charges, and it doesn't calculate every single state. In fact, states that are predominantly like white, like Alabama, they don't report to the UCR. Like states with a higher white population, they don't even report to the UCR. So you're looking at partial data here. Second, we know that when it comes to arrests, black people are more likely to be falsely arrested and imprisoned than white people are. So, like, yeah, the
how
UCR
exactly? You're just saying the
via
general
the U.S.
statement. You're
sentencing
claiming.
via the U.S. Sentencing Commission's data.
So you're saying these people are getting prosecuted, even though
This isn't
the jury or the
prosecution.
judge. So
UCR
no
isn't
prosecution. You say
prosecution. The
no.
UCR is just arrest rates. It's not prosecution rates.
Okay. So you're not even arguing about persecution. You're arguing about they get handcuffed and then they have to go through to the court. That's what you're arguing right now. You're not arguing about the full
The
sentencing or
UCR
anything about
isn't even court appearances. It is just arrest rates.
Okay, but if that's just the arrest rate and they're not getting persecuted, how is the system systematically racist if they're able to fight their chance to get out of the persecution? You're just arguing arrest.
How is it
Everyone has to
what are you
fight in
talking
court.
about? I think you're trying to debate 7 different points here. Can you stick to one? If you're trying to say, hey, it looks like black people get off of their charges more, that's because they're falsely arrested more. And when you're falsely arrested, you have an easier time of getting out of a false arrest. Black people are also exonerated.
Okay,
Hold on, I'm talking.
You're mainly looking at blue. You're mainly looking at blue states with blue AG.
I'm talking.
Of course, they're gonna have a lower release. What are you talking about?
I'm talking. Thanks.
Okay.
When we also look at when it comes to things like in the UCR, like when we're looking at arrests and stuff, what we also see is black people are exonerated for crimes more. So when black people are charged with crimes, they get exonerated because they're proven innocent later.
In which counties exactly?
This is state, like, countrywide.
That mainly goes because AGs are very political. AGs are very political. But okay, countrywide.
Give me proof that AGs are very political. Give me some sort of evidence of this.
AGs literally run. They literally run for office.
Do you have evidence?
What do you mean?
Do you have evidence that they're making? Do you have evidence that they're making decisions based on some sort of political ideology?
When they run for office, they promise these things that they're willing.
Them running for office is only evidence that they're running for office. It's not evidence.
Bro, running for anything in fucking government is a political.
You don't have evidence.
What are you talking about? It's literally political.
Okay, so you don't have evidence. Got it.
You're just filibustering. You
not what a
completely know that
is.
running for AG is literally a political. They literally get put in politically.
I asked you to provide evidence that the decisions they're making when it comes to either charging people with a crime, or AGs don't exonerate people, but whatever. When it comes to exonerations, that those decisions are made.
They're in charge of the ones persecuting. They're the ones in charge of persecuting because you're throwing false equivalents.
You don't even know. There is no false equivalence.
They're the ones that persecute. They're the ones that persecute. They don't drop charges. They're the ones that persecute.
There is no false equivalence here. I asked you for evidence that the decisions they're making are based on some political goal or gain. And all you keep saying is, well, they run for office. Great. That's not evidence that the decision to charge someone, the decision to prosecute...
For office, you're giving promises to the people that are voting for you. That's alone a political... You're asking for a specific instance of one... You're talking about a specific instance of
you genuinely have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, you're just saying the same thing over and over.
Nope, because you refuse to provide evidence for your claim.
You're saying it's your whole argument is that they get pulled over more, right?
Hold on. My argument is that when we look at the data, like the actual studied data, it's very clear that there is a disproportionate effect against black people in the criminal justice system. One of these is the pullover rate. Right? Black people are 16 times more likely to be pulled over by white people until the sun goes down. And when the sun goes down and police can know...
shot and getting pulled over, just like white people are more likely to get shot? You're going to ignore that fact?
Do you have evidence of that?
It's literally on your report. Look it up. You have the fucking live on you. Why can't you put it up? Why am I the caller have to pull up
It's actually not on the report that white people are more likely to be shot.
Okay, you can literally Google it. Just Google it.
Oh, just Google it. Okay, sure.
You can literally Google it and look up the different reports. You're doing yourself a disservice by actually informing yourself.
Let's take a look. Black people in the United States are disproportionately affected by gun violence and are more likely to be shot per capita compared to other racial groups. Holy shit. You said white people were more likely to be shot. One Google search proved you wrong. That's crazy.
You literally didn't even look at it, bro. You literally just said gun violence in general. We all know the black community has a huge gun violence issue. We're talking about police.
Sure, let's look at by police. Sure,
this is what you guys do. You're trying to filibuster and throw different.
Here we go. Like, when it comes to police violence, black individuals are disproportionately more likely to be shot and killed by police per capita compared to white individuals. Holy shit!
Okay.
Who would have fucking guessed that, chat? Who would have guessed that, guys? Who would have guessed? Black Americans are killed at a higher rate, although white individuals make up a larger percentage of the population are also shot and killed by police. The rate at which black Americans are killed is disproportionately higher relative to their representation in the population. Holy shit. Holy shit. Black Americans, who make up roughly 14% of the US population, are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans. Holy shit. Who would have guessed that? Who would have guessed?
Bro,
Except every
I
person
literally
with a
Googled
brain
it.
except for
It
you.
literally says while more white individuals are shot and killed by police in the United States in terms of absolute numbers, blacks are shot to a disproportionately amount, right? Now, when you look into it disproportionately, they're getting pulled over more. Why are they getting pulled over more? Just because they're black?
Because of racism, yes.
So
That's why when this, that's why, hold on. That's why when the sun goes down, in the study that I've talked to you about, the Veil of Darkness study, when the sun goes down, the rates of pullover even out because police can no longer see the color of the person driving the car.
Wait. So you're saying have you ever thought of the count? That's when not most people are outside. Is when most people are done with their day.
Do you know what daylight savings time is? Do you know what daylight savings time is? There are places all over the country, in fact, everywhere, where at one point in the year, do you know how daylight savings works? Do you know how daylight savings works?
You just said when the sun goes down.
Do you know that sometimes in the year at 5 o'clock in the day it's light, and at sometimes in the year at 5 o'clock in the day it's dark? Do you know that?
Okay, you said sundown. Your word was sundown.
Yes, because sometimes the sun is down at 5 o'clock. Okay, do you know this? Do you know how time works?
And when do most people finish their work days?
5 o'clock.
What? A 9 to 5 exactly.
Typically between 5 and 6. So sometimes during the year, you are so stupid. Sometimes during the year, the sun goes down, but like before 6 o'clock. So sometimes people will be driving the same road at night and during the day. They're driving the same road because we have this handy little thing called daylight savings time. So it's sometimes light out at that point in the year, and sometimes it's dark out. No, you just don't know how time works.
No, you're literally arguing time. I'm literally saying if the sun goes down, no matter what time it is, that's generally the time that people's day will end. They will go home to their kids. So you're arguing that more people get pulled over before that time. Nah, duh, dipshit. They're not going to be outside their home.
Holy shit,
you're arguing
so
time?
Dumb. Holy shit, you're so stupid. If I work, just follow me with this one. Follow me with this one. If I work 9 to 5, typically you're going to get out around 5:30 because you have a 30-minute lunch break. And so I'm on the road for 30 minutes between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. That's not how
it works.
Yes, it is. 9 to 5, have you ever worked a full-time job in your life?
Your 30 minutes is in between your 9 to 5.
No, it's not.
I'm working right now.
No, it's not. Your 30 minutes, if your 30-minute lunch break is unpaid, typically you work between like 9 and 5:30 because the lunch break is unpaid. So they don't pay you for that time, so it's not counted into your... We just say 9 to 5 because that's what it used to be when most jobs were salaried. But now that most jobs are not salaried, what happens is your 8-hour work schedule, you have 30-minute time where you're unpaid, so they add that to that. If you know, like, I don't know if you've just never worked, but like that's how that works. So if I get out of work, I don't believe that right now, but if I get out of work at 5:30, so I have to drive home between 5:30 and 6, and it's the winter, it's most likely going to be dark out.
Bro,
and then when it's the summer, it's going to be light out.
You're literally comparing. You're comparing times. I'm literally saying you're saying when the sun goes down. You're saying if it's winter or summer. That doesn't fucking prove what I'm saying is wrong. If most people end the day, they're gonna go home.
Yes, sometimes you go home when the sun is out, and sometimes you go home when the sun is not out. Because that's how time works.
Majority of the time, when do you go home? When the sun's out?
Both.
Is that what you're saying?
Both.
What do you mean both? No, daylight saving time is not the fucking half of the year. It's only permitted like a little bit of time. So when you go home, majority of the year, is it during the day or during the night?
Holy shit, bro. Hold on. Let's do this. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just look at a sunset calendar because apparently this is what we have to do. So we're gonna look at like a sunset calendar for like, I don't know. We'll look at New York. Okay, so we're gonna look at like New York. We'll just look like towards the middle of New York. So I'll go like the Poughkeepsie area. Shout out Poughkeepsie. I used to live there. So we're just gonna go like New York in this time of we'll just look at when the sun rises and the sun sets. Now, right now, or we'll look at January. In January of 2025, the sun set at 4:30. So if I'm working 9 to 5,
in New York, you're saying in New York it ends at 4:30.
In January, the sun sets at 4:30. Yes.
Okay. In January, not now. Okay, in January. Okay, go.
So in January, the sun is setting at 4:30. So if I work a 9 to 5, the sun is setting by the time I go home. In December, the
Okay.
sun sets at 4:30. So the sun is setting when I go home. In November, the sun is setting at around 4:30. So the sun is setting by the time I go home. Do you see a trend here?
Okay, how much month is that?
Do you see a trend? I just want to know if you see a trend.
What exactly is the trend? What, that it gets darker? Is that what you're saying?
You don't see a trend.
I'm trying to follow
Holy
your
shit,
logic.
bro.
Explain it. You just say you answer the question, not trying to inform me. The question
shit.
you're asking is insane.
Holy
And
shit.
you're only arguing one part of the systematic racism. You're arguing the police pullover rates. Okay, you want to argue that? Okay.
How many more do you want to argue? I can argue literally every part of
We go
systemic
with the
racism.
educational system, work
Sure.
system, educational.
Sure, let's do it.
How are
What?
blacks
Sure.
affecting the education system?
Sure. Let's do the education system. That's my bread and butter. How is
That's your bread and
education
butter?
paid for predominantly in the United States?
How is education paid for predominantly?
Yep.
Well, isn't Trump right now trying to disband?
It's not what I asked. It's not what I asked.
No, but
the Department of Education has nothing to do with educational funding.
Okay, well, by taxes, by state.
There you go. By taxes. Which taxes specifically pay for education?
Well, depending on the state, correct?
Nope. Every state has one set of taxes that they put towards education in whatever county you live in.
I know, but each state pays for their own school funding, right?
Yep. And you pay through it through which tax?
Inform me. Which tax?
Property taxes.
Okay.
Now, which group of Americans has disproportionately lower valued property?
Well, you could say black, right? You're gonna say black.
You could say black because it's black people.
Okay, now
their
let me
property
ask you
is
this:
typically
why
lower
are
value.
the black? No, let me ask you this: why are the black areas lower income properties or like lower?
You ever heard of this fun little thing called redlining, which affected every state in the United States between 1910 to 1976, and even past that, because banks are still getting sued for redlining practices today?
Okay, but you're talking about redlining. We're talking about the whole property value in general. Because when you go to a black community, more or less we know that it's going to be more likely to have more violence there, more thefts. You can't even deny that. This is why black people
is there more likely to be higher crime rates in lower income communities?
Because it's a culture issue.
Because it's lower income. It's because crime is directly related to poverty, not a cultural. What's the gene? If it's a cultural thing, what's the gene? What is it? Is there a black gene? Is there a gene that all black people have that make them more predisposed to committing violent acts?
Okay, so you're directly saying culture with genes? Is that what you're doing right now?
What?
Are you really arguing culture with genes? Or culture is a behavior of a group? It's nothing to do with genes. What are you arguing about? What are you really arguing right now?
Where does black culture come from?
No. You try to assert culture with genes, because
you're conflating that all black people share this cultural thing that makes them more violent, which there is nothing. There's no link to this.
There's no link to it. There's no link to black culture promoting violence throughout their music, promoting gang culture.
The biggest?
There's no evidence of that.
Right. Who's the biggest? If black music is directly led to violence, who's the biggest consumer of black music in the country?
The general population.
No, white teenage boys.
Well, that's the
white
general
teenage
population.
Boys.
The majority
it's
of the
not the general population. That's not what general population means. White teenage boys are the biggest consumers of black music. So are you saying that white teenage boys are actually the ones who are more violent?
What are you saying? Are white teenage boys making songs about murdering each other? Do they grow up and make these songs?
Yes.
They do?
Have you ever listened to fucking hard rock? Do you want me to pull up a list of rock songs that talk? You ever listen to Eminem? You ever listen to Eminem? Eminem has an entire song about him wanting to kill his ex-wife. What are you talking about?
That's one white rapper compared to the billions of black rappers. Look at you. You can only pick one. Do another one, buddy.
You think there's billions of black rappers? Sure. Let's pull up a list of white songs.
That's like their biggest dream. They want to be social media rappers.
Let's just pull up a list of white songs that are violent. How about we do that? How about we pull up the violence in white music?
How are you gonna? Look how you're arguing in bad faith. How are you gonna calculate that you know damn right
How do you
that blacks
calculate?
predominantly run rap, right?
Did I
You know,
say
and
they
that
did I
hip hop.
wait, I'm
And
sorry. First of all, did I say that black people don't do you think hip hop is the only violent form of music? Have you
no, it's
listened
only
to heavy
mainstream
metal?
one right now.
Have you listened to
It's the
heavy metal?
mainstream one right
Have you
now.
listened to the heavy metal?
Heavy metal's not mainstream. Heavy metal's not mainstream.
Bullshit. Heavy
You're
metal's not
filibustering.
mainstream. What the fuck are you
Heavy
talking about?
Heavy metal's mainstream right now?
Yes.
Are you arguing that right now?
Yes.
Bro, what are you saying?
You think
What are you-
Slipknot is not mainstream? Are you stupid?
Are they on the top 10 boards right now? Are you stupid?
Oh wait, if
You're-
you want to talk top 10 is going to be like pop music. Fucking Taylor Swift sits at the top 10.
Pop and rap mainly. Literally pop and rap.
Yeah, when you want to fucking like exclude all the shit that's not like not there, yeah, sure. It's pop and rap, yeah. One of the top songs has been fucking Pink Pony Club. Where's the violence? Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You genuinely don't. You're trying to conflate that there's this cultural thing in black. You're trying to conflate
that likes to dress up as drag. That's not a. What are you saying?
You're trying to conflate.
What are you saying?
What you're trying to do is you're trying to conflate that there's something inherent within black culture that leads to violence, but you can't do it.
You guys promote it, and if you want to go deeper
every
down the
culture
rabbit hole,
promotes violence. Stupid. Violence is one of the highest things. You want to bet? Do you want to fucking bet me?
Okay,
do you want to bet me?
I'll
Every culture promotes violence, and if we want to look at which cultures are the most violent in the world, it hasn't been black cultures. It's not even close.
What, Middle Eastern?
It's been European. It's been European. If you want to look at what cultures have been the most violent, it's been European.
So you're saying European culture? You're saying European culture is promoting violence right now?
Every culture promotes violence.
No, bro. Musically,
yes, bro.
Music controls the culture at the moment.
Yes, music does not control the culture. That's so stupid.
Right now it does.
Music
what are you saying?
Music
okay,
is created because of the culture. The culture that you live in music is an extension of the culture you live in. It's not the other way around.
Bro,
the music doesn't come first, you idiot.
Yes, it does.
Holy,
the music
no, it doesn't.
Stupid.
The
people follow. The people
no,
follow
it doesn't.
The artist.
When Biggie Smalls started rapping, did he go through all of the drug shit first, or did he just start rapping about drug shit and then he became a drug dealer? Or did he do this sort of thing and said, "Well, I'm going to write about what I know, which is the drug game"? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Music does not come before culture. Music is a reflection of the culture, you moron.
Wait, are you arguing the black communities only know about coke?
That would be the dumbest. That would be the dumbest straw man of my argument I've ever heard in my life.
No, but that's my point exactly. The black culture only picks up what they know of, and that literally is their culture. They only see and write what they know about, and what is that? Their violence and their culture. Black people don't even want to live in black communities. This is why black people move to white communities.
You know why black people don't want to live in communities that are predominantly black? Because of 100 years of redlining and the fact that these communities were severely underfunded. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about because you don't know the history of this shit.
You don't ever think about the people that want to buy a property, probably don't want to live in a dangerous neighborhood.
Why were black people forced into those neighborhoods? Why were black people forced into those neighborhoods?
They weren't forced into neighborhoods.
Yes, they were. This is what I'm talking about. You're stupid as fuck. Yes, they were. Bro, that's what redlining is. Redlining, you absolute fucking moron. You're stupid as fuck. You're stupid as fuck. Redlining, stupid. Redlining, stupid, dumb fuck. Stupid, dumb fuck. Dumbass. Redlining, you stupid. Yeah, there it is. Thank you for proving my point. My point.
I'm a fucking Nazi, you fucking dumbass.
Yes, we know. Yeah, 407. 407.
And I'm black, you fucking
407. 407. Should I keep going?
Okay.
There, he did it. He did it, guys.
Care.
He did it himself. Get the fuck out of here, you racist piece of shit. Dumb fuck. He said, "I'm black." No, you're not. Stupid. If you were black, you wouldn't have spent the entire conversation saying, "You black people," or you would have said us. Stupid fucking idiot. Here's the thing. Black people were systemically forced in. You want to know a question that I wish I could have asked? You want to know a question? Whenever somebody tells you systemic racism is over, ask them when it ended. Ask them when it ended. I just want to know, like, when did it end? He didn't know that music is a reflection of the culture, not the other way around, when it's 100% the other way around. He didn't fucking know about redlining. This is my issue, dude. This is the biggest issue. This is the biggest issue I have, is people who ignore the cultural and historic reality that Black people faced. So Black people, for however many years we want to talk about, from early 1900s to 1976 was, I think, the year that they passed the Fair Housing Act. But even then, we've last year, banks were sued for redlining policies and lost. So redlining is still a thing that happens. But what we looked at is Black people predominantly forced into neighborhoods that were lower property valued, that were neighborhoods that had less resources funneled into them, right? Then we need to look at the war on drugs, in which fucking Reagan decided, well, we're gonna, admittedly, by the way, the CIA has admitted to this, where we're gonna funnel drugs into these neighborhoods to severely underfund them so that we can make sure that these neighborhoods stay poor. And then you want to say, well, but why do Black people stay there? I don't know, maybe because they historically don't have wealth. And part of owning property is having wealth. And when we look at the wealth disparity between Black and white Americans, if I'm remembering the numbers correctly, white Americans were at 200,000, give or take, in mean wealth per white families, where Black people were sitting at 12,000. So like, this shit is so cracked. And every time someone points you to culture, they're fucking making shit up, by the way. They're making shit up when they say it's a cultural thing.